I want to tell you something about the actual commandment of lighting candles on Chanukah, what it means, and by explaining it, I think it will give us a much deeper understanding of the relationship between the lighting of the candles and the winning of the war over the Greeks. When I first came to Israel, which is a long time ago, 40 years ago, so I came to learn in the Mir Yeshiva. The Mir Yeshiva was a dump. There was no heat, and I was freezing to death. I had to go to Slonim at night to keep from be able to find some place to learn. And I didn't have many friends there. And it's Chanukah, it's a time to be happy, so I said, what can I do to make myself happy? So I decided I'll try to learn the Sugya Be'iyun and the Mechadish something, and if I Mechadish something, so then I'll be happy. As we see in the Gemara over here, the Gemara says that the order of the Mishnah is according to the things that the rabbis created through their own pilpul, through their own understanding. The Medrasha Chavivale, since it's a drash of theirs, they love it more. So therefore, something which a person's mechadish, which has a kesher nafshi, it's my thing, I created it, that's the real Torah. And that's the difference really between the other shirim in Or Somayach and this shir here, the Kodel shir. The Kodel shir here is to create a deep relationship between the lomed and the limud, not just to be taught, not just to understand the material, but to delve into it, that his identity becomes one with the sugi itself. And therefore what he understands is the way he understands the sugi. At any rate, let's leave the drush and get, well, this is also a little drush, but get down to the more halachic part of this. The Rambam starts off in Perek Gimel of Hilchos Chanukah, and he writes like this: B'bayis sheni kishemolchu yovan. Right now, picture to yourself. I'm in the Mir Yeshiva. It's cold, dreary. I open up this Rambam and I start reading the Rambam. What can I find in this Rambam which will inspire me? So I see, okay, in the Second Temple, when the Greeks ruled, Gazur Gzeirus on Yisrael, they made many decrees on the Jewish people, Ubitla Daitam, and they stopped them from keeping their religion, right? V'lo hinichosam lasok b'toyru the mitzvahs, and they did not allow them to learn Torah or to do mitzvahs. Uposhta yoda b'monam uv'noseim, and they took over their money and their daughters. V'nichnasu leheichel uporzu b'protzos v'timu hatahayrus. So the Yevonim made a lot of difficulties for the Jewish people. So the Rambam says that the Chashmonoim, they rebelled against them, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu saved them, and they overcame the Greeks. When they overcame the Greeks, says the Rambam in Halacha Beis, Kishigav Yisrael al Avim v'Avodum v'Chamisha v'Esrim b'Chodesh Kislev Hoya. That was the 25th day of Kislev, and they went into the Heichel, and they couldn't find any pure oil, and then they found one pure vask of oil. ומפני זה התקינו ישראל שבעושה דור שיהיו 8 ימים אלו שהתחילו שהתחלוסם מליל 25 בכסלו, ימי שמחה והלל ומדליקים בנרות וכו' וכו'. Now, what is strange about this Rambam? Why did I find this Rambam very strange?
Rambam saying the story.
Rambam is not a history book. It doesn't tell us stories. How does the Rambam start Hilchos Megillah? The Rambam starts off Hilchos Megillah and he says, Kriyas HaMegillah b'zman u'mitzvos aseh midivrei soifrim v'advorim yudurim shehem takonos neviim v'achol chayovim b'kriyosim. So the Rambam says, there's a mitzvah to do Kriyas HaMegillah Gendik. So the Rambam should say, you know, there's a mitzvah to learn Leilot Chanukah. Who needs this whole history story?
What would be the purpose of lighting candles without really knowing what it's doing?
Tom, but he's not giving you the Tom while it's stating about Megillah.
Right, first
the whole purpose of lighting, but he's not telling you the Tom why we have Megillah, because
what do you want to say, Ali?
The whole purpose of lighting the menorah is to be mefarsim the nes. So if you don't know why you're lighting the menorah, you've kind of...
What's the reason we read Megillah?
Yes,
right, I said, what does the Rambam say? Read Megillah! Right? Okay, also, after fasten the nest, like neighbors, Yendik Temaisu. What does he have to tell us the whole drasha for?
About what the nace is passing in which nace are being person.
Maybe. Okay, now you're going to hear my chiddush. First of all, I want you to understand that there is something which, that dreary night of Chanukah was a lit a candle by me. What's going on over here? You know, a light bulb, right? Why is the Rambam giving a history story over here? As a halacha, Hilchos writing halachas, and over there, go straight into the halachas, Gemara, finished. So I understood that there was two words in the Rambam and Hilchos Megillah which lights up our understanding in Hilchos Chanukah. What are those words? It says, Kriyas HaMegillah Bizmano Mitzvahs Asei Midivrei Soifrim V'hadvorim Yudurim Shehi Takanas Neviim. The Rambam says, how could you make a new mitzvah? Right? There's a whole machlokes in the Gemara, if it's the Baal Toisif, not Baal Toisif. We have to hayag mitzvahs. And now you have a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. How can you make a mitzvah d'Rabbanan? So he says it was Takanas Neviim. The Neviim have the capability of understanding the import of this miracle, and they made the Takanas, so they can make a new Takana. Now, why does the Rambam emphasize B'bayis Sheni? Kishemolchu Yovam. What was significant about Bayis Sheni? What do you know about Bayis Sheni?
They have so much Nevi'im, right?
They didn't have any Nevi'im in Bayis Sheni. Nevuah stopped after Bayis Rishon. There was a residual effect for those people that saw the Bayis Rishon, that they still had a status of Nevi'im. Right? Yecheskel. Ezra's not so clearly was a Novi anyway. He's more of Ksuvim, Nehemiah, whatever. It depends. At any rate, Nevuah, Bayis Rishon. Bayis Sheni, there were no Nevi'im. How do you make a takon of a new mitzvah? Takonas Nevi'im. So how can you make a new mitzvah of Neiros Chanukah? What authority do you have to make such a mitzvah? Says the Rambam, you have an authority. Why? Because מפני זה התקינו חכמים שבאו סדור שיש מונס יומם האלו. Right? Says the Rambam that the Chachamim saw the hashgacha of the finding of the shemen, and they understood that over here we have a special Yad Hashem. There was a miracle. The miracle was like a Navi coming and telling us what to do. Just like then you had the Navim could tell us what to do. What was the Navi that told us what to do for Chanukah? Says the Rambam, והדליקו בנס המרוח 8 ימים, אף על פי שלא היה לו יום אחד. ומפני זה, because of this miracle, התקינו את Chanukah. So what comes out of this? What do you want to say? Yeah, they have the ability. I give him more of an expression to this, which has a little bit of political implications, which we'll see in a second. Yeah, what do you want?
The state of Israel when they conquered Yerushalayim, so we assume that same thing?
Well, I'm not. We'll probably have to censor this from the tape, right? But that's my follow-up. That you cannot make any new holidays either without a miracle like Shmonis Yimei Chanukah or like Nevi'im. Otherwise, everything is born b'teilim and b'tonim lo shririm v'lo kayamim. Right? The milchama itself is not enough. It has to be an overt miracle which gives you the ability to create a new holiday. Because you had oil which would burn for 1 day, and it burned for 8 days.
There's 1,000.
So we say over there that it's a miracle, because ordinarily all kinds of scientific investigations proved that this oil can only burn for 1 day. And it burned for 8 days, so this was not scientifically logical. Right? So we say that this was an intervention of God to show a nes. What does a nes mean? A nes means a flag. This is an important day. What is the importance? Just like Purim changed the very fabric of the Jewish people. Kimu v'kibulu aleim. They were makabel Torah without Modar Avodah, and the very fabric of Klal Yisrael changed. Also here, the Nes of Chanukah changed the very fabric of Klal Yisrael and made it possible for them to be able to go through all of the diaspora and still have the little light of Chanukah lead them through the darkness of the galut, of the fact that we were out of.
So you're not just saying the nes, you're saying also the ramifications of the nes.
Absolutely. Not just the nes, but the ramifications of the nes.
So we're saying Mash and Kain. So we started off by saying that first you needed Takanas Nevi'im. Now we're saying we need Takanas Chazal with a nes.
You're saying the war wasn't part of the nes?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying the Chanukah was made a holiday because of the nes, because we overcame these Greeks. But how do we know that we can make a holiday out of this conquest, out of this victory? Maybe they won a war, but who says they won a battle? Who says that this is changing the very equation of our relationship to the non-Jewish world? It's the war which the Chanukah is all about. But how do we know that we're going to make a holiday about the war? That we see from the Nes of Chanukah, and the Rambam couldn't say it more clearly. This I was machadish nearly 40 years ago, and then afterwards I found other people that say the same thing.
Are you saying that the Ner Chanukah is megalatas, that the war was a
nes which changed the fabric of Klal Yisrael, and that it's fitting to make a holiday for that.